So it is about intent and understanding all of that influence that you have, and the fact that you influence every single situation that you're in.
And that has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? Because when we consider ecology within NLP, and we talk about the impact that any change will have, not just on ourselves and on the client, not just on the client, but also the people around them. Not just the people around them in their home life, but also their work life.
Mm-hmm.
What about any social interactions? What about their community? And it just gets wider and wider, doesn't it? And ultimately, what impact are we having on the world that we live in? So even though on the face of it, that change is within us, within our client, and contained, there is that ripple effect. So I know for both of us, it's really important that we make sure that that's a helpful ripple.
Exactly. Yes. Because of the influence, because of the impact, because even the smallest thing can have a huge impact somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be done with that purity of intent.
Yeah. And it's that fine line, isn't it, between influence and manipulation? Because if the intent is pure, you can't manipulate it.
No.
They don't fit together at all.
No.
And yes, there is I guess a continuum of the strength of influence. But again, intent will help you find the right way for that. Because clearly within business, you want more influence in terms of getting your leadership message across, helping people achieve outcomes that are aligned with the business. But it's still about the ecology and the intent. And, what is your intention with this? What's the business intention? What's that wider impact? And I think perhaps over previous years, we've undoubtedly both had experience of it, where perhaps that ecology wasn't always there. The consideration wasn't always there in the way that teams have been managed, that sales have been managed. I think we've seen a big shift in that now.
We have, definitely. And I've got a sales background. So I have seen some practices taught that have been a direct result of somebody having a little bit of NLP and then deciding that that would be really useful to use in a context like a sales context, but without taking into consideration the fact that it's got to be right. The intent's got to be right. And the intent's not right. And the example that I think of is, it's a very basic one. I've seen it in lots and lots of sales trainings where they say, if you can get somebody to say yes 3 times, they find it hard to say no. So the intent there is obvious, to get somebody to say yes when actually they don't mean to say yes. You're just making it hard for them to say no. So it's easier to push them into saying yes to something that they don't necessarily want. The intent is obviously wrong.
Yeah, in that context.
In that context. Whereas actually, when you use a yes set in a conversation where you want somebody to start thinking differently, and maybe you need to just shift the way they're thinking at that time to open up their mind to be able to hear what else you have to say, then using a yes set in that context is actually quite a useful one.
Yeah.
The intent is pure. The intent is right. So you would therefore be helping somebody to listen to what you need to say because it's going to help them.
Mm-hmm. And I guess even in a sales context, depending on what your driver is and what your intention is, if you are selling a product that you know is going to absolutely benefit that client, then a yes set can be really helpful in opening their mind to possibilities.
Yes.
But if your intention is, I'm selling this product because I need to get a tick in the box and I need to put money in my pocket or sales points on the board or whatever it is, then we're talking manipulation, aren't we?
Exactly. Yes. And it comes all the way back to intent. What was your intention when you were using that particular technique or that language or whatever it was that you were wanting to do? What's your intent? And if your intention is for it to be right for the person, for everything around them, for their family, for their work, and for yourself, then it's got to be the right intent.
Absolutely.